I'm Alex the Kitchen Rapper and this is episode 9 of Free Scheme to Boss. As always, I've got James with me.
How you doing? Today we're joined with Angela McKillop. How you doing, Angela?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. So as you know, the podcast is called From Scheme to Boss. Where are you fae? How would you do?
I love that. It's a brilliant question.
Good intro.
Well, we've been talking about changing the name and everything.
You want to change your name and all that?
No, don't change it. It's great. I love it. I'm from Bishopton and I've got a couple of businesses. So I've got a home improvements business and I'm a business mentor. That's my passion. So I love helping other people grow their businesses and get into the right mindset to be the best version of themselves and get their business to a point where the business they can be proud of. So that's what I do.
So your business, we'll go into the mentor one later on, but I'm more interested in is it home improvement?
Yep.
So how have you got that set up? What kind of way have you got that structured? Because obviously we do just one bit of home improvement, we go into people's kitchens.
Yep.
And that can be, like, we find that hard because you're trying to just one part. So you go into the full house. It's like, how does all that work? Yeah,
that's right. So the businesses, we love your projects, and then the businesses underneath it are separate entities. So we've got kitchens, bathrooms, boilers and central heating, electrics and EV. So they're all separate, meaning that although the banners, we love your projects, and that's the business that people know, it's specialists in each individual area. So all our gas guys are fully qualified, gas safe registered, fully qualified kitchen fitters and joiners specialists. So that's how we've sort of set it up. And we've got an operations director, Jamie, who oversees it all. So that's the setup of it.
So all the business, do they all operate as individual businesses? Or
yes.
Right, so basically the gas, it's a separate thing to the other one?
Yep.
Are they all employed, or is that like subcontractors?
They're all employed.
See, that must be hard. Let's see, try to employ different people in different trades.
Yep.
You can trade somebody up, or they about to start their own business. So it must be hard.
I've been trying to employ somebody this week to come in the kitchen ram, and honestly, see the people that I've been getting. Like, no offence to some of these, man, but like, it's like finding somebody with their own teeth has been hard work. It's like. Some people are just turning up, and it's like a guy turned up to see me and he was wearing like a jogging suit that looked like it was just, and it's like you've not got any. He had no offence to. I hope he's not watching it, but he looking at me didn't have any. His appearance wasn't great, and straight away for me it was like, well, customers are going to see that.
That's right.
So it's like that was me just trying to find one employee. I'll probably get in trouble for slagging that guy. I don't know.
Nobody's going to apply for a job.
But it's like some people's attitudes and all that when they were messaging me were very much show me once and I'll do it, and then it's like,
I think that's the stereotype trades though, isn't it? It's hard in any business, but I think trades get that reputation that, you know, they're unreliable, they're messy, they don't care about what they're doing, it's all about the money. So it is difficult to find good people, and you know, I'm saying we've got a brilliant team of people now, we're really lucky, but you know, that's been like 16, 18 years in the making of learning from your mistakes, knowing who's going to work, who's not going to work, what you're looking out for, what questions you're asking. And I think a lot of people just don't look for attitude, because you can't train attitude. You've got to have somebody coming in that's wants to do well and find out what works for them, how they're motivated. That's a big thing for us. So not everybody's motivated by money. Some people are motivated by time off. Some people are motivated by a title or recognition. So it's finding out what works for them individually and then managing them effectively.
I used to be motivated with a title. It wasn't even about the money. For me, it was like when I was in a company, it was like it was just to be that, have that good title, like production manager, installation manager. That was me. That motivated me to work my rules.
Yeah.
And it was, now that I think back, I should have been asking for the money.
Yes.
But what's the reasoning for setting them up as individual companies? Is it like to protect the other ones against, like, basically you could just sever that arm if you wanted to? Pretty
much. It comes from a bit of a trauma. Some people might have seen, I've had a lot of kind of press recently just about my story. So we built up a multi-million-pound company over the space of 10 years, trades company, and it collapsed in 2016. And the biggest reason for that was not spreading the risk. We had all the eggs in one basket. It was one company. Everything went through it. We had one big client that was responsible for about 80% of the revenue. So, of course, when he stopped, everything stopped. And we went on for about a year and a half after that, just trying to sort of save it and sort of scrape by. And it just wasn't working.
So
put a lot of personal money in.
So have you set the new company up in a way to protect you against all that?
That's exactly why it's set up that way. It's separate entities, so it means that, you know, if there was a big client that didn't pay through boiler, for example, then it doesn't bring everything else down with it. So Obviously, our payment terms are all protected now as well, and we're really, really good at that.
If one business isn't performing, like the boiler one isn't performing, you've got the other three that are doing well. If you need to get rid of one, you're not getting rid of the full business.
But I'm hoping that's not going to happen.
Would it ever be a case of like, so one isn't performing, but the other three are? Would they support the one that isn't performing, or would it be a case of that bit of the business isn't performing? That's it, done?
In a sense, so the way that we've set it up is we love your projects. Everything goes up to we love your projects. So boiler, electrics, kitchens, EV, everything that all goes to projects. That's the main sort of company. So although we look at the company separate to make sure you know what's making money, what's not. Like boiler, for example, is a bit more seasonal. So from October to March, it's flying. But the summer months are a bit quieter. So we know and we can plan for that a big part of the revenue is not coming from boiler in the summer, but kitchens and bathrooms are mental. So all balances out. So although they're separate entities, projects is the main company. So we've got that balance of protection, but you know, just knowing that all the money's coming from different companies.
So essentially, so projects is essentially using the other ones like subcontractors as such, so you're set up your own?
Not really, it's more like a holding company. Projects is like a holding company, that's how it's set up. Again, it was just to spread the risk, and it's important to look at these companies as individuals as well, because you could easily think, oh, projects has done, you know, a brilliant year, you know, 7-figure year, that's brilliant, but it's like, well, what's been responsible for that? Because you can end up carrying different companies
one's
and you don't know it.
So you need to work on that one.
Exactly.
Get better marketing or
so they all need to perform. They all need to perform. They all need to be proactive. They all need to be profitable. So that's why they're separate entities as well. But we've got that sort of balance and breathing space that in the summer, for example, boiler, we plan for that now. We know that cash flow operates differently, and that's just the way it is.
So obviously the structure's different for the new business, but is it the same kind of stuff you're doing, or is that?
Yes, same similar stuff. So the only difference is this is all domestic work. So in the first place it was domestic, we get into commercial with the last company, and that was obviously a lot more high risk. You know, you've got bigger contractors, you know, we were invoicing £500,000 a month. So, you know, if somebody doesn't pay...
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to invoice.
It's a lot of money. But, you know, the outgoings were heavy, and, you know, we'd a
if one person
senior
doesn't
team.
pay, you've got no cash flow, you can't pay staff, you can't...
See, that's why I like, so in kitchen, so also what we do is we wrap kitchens, but we do architectural wrap, so we'll get contracts for going down like lobbies and stuff like that, big offices. But what I like about the kitchens is we finish a job a day, we're paid the day.
Yep.
So it's like, so cash flow for us just hasn't been an issue. When
you always get that payment back? You said if you pay the day, what if the woman says to you, I'll transfer it tonight?
No, so before we used to we would do that kind of stuff. Now it's a case of we ain't leaving until we've been paid. Like, so it's a case of
like Alex story like that.
Because we've had it before where you go into somebody's house and they'd be like, oh, I'll pay it later on. It's like, no. So we've got systems in place that tells the customer before what to expect, when the payment's going to be due, and basically, like, when we're done, we're waiting on payment. Like, just because once you're out that door, you're not getting back in. And it's happened to us. But what we were finding is when we were doing, we done a job, I'll not say the company, we done a job for a big company.
Yep.
And it was like 4 weeks worth of work. And my guys were out for 4 weeks constantly. When it came to the end of the month, I had to cover their wages.
Yep.
And then they wouldn't pay. They never paid for 30 days. Then they said they never got it approved. They got the invoice, we need to get it signed off, or it was missed. And then before you know it was 90 days. And then
that's it.
And then we were still chasing payment.
Yeah.
And eventually we got it. But
it's
just
high
wasn't
risk.
worth the effort.
It's high risk. And loads of people think that these contracts are brilliant because it's one client for the next 6 weeks, or, you know, and it's paying all the wages and paying all the bills. It's high risk, and that's why we don't do a lot of that stuff now. We've got good relationships with certain people that we do it, but all our stuff's 50% up front.
It's a bigger client
even the
for
Mrs.
us.
Smiths.
I don't even.
Everything's 50%
doesn't matter. I don't
upfront.
care what size the company is now. We just go 50% up front,
Absolutely.
or we'll just no come.
That's
we would rather it's just no worth the risk for us now.
Covering
At
your
least
back.
then I know at least the wages are covered. The vinyl, no too fussed about, but I just need to make sure these guys' wages are covered, because I'm not paying out. I used to do it where I'd pay out my own savings, and now it's a case of no, like, we're not even doing that. And I've done it, and it was a slippery slope.
Yeah.
It was months I wasn't even taking a wage. And it was just because these big companies were saying, oh, the invoice has been put through now, I'm sorry, we never got it through in time.
Maybe another 30 days.
Aye.
That's it.
And then we used to get people to be like, oh no, we paying 30 days, they didn't want to pay anything up front. And at the time I was like, I'm sure, right, no ball, we'll get it sorted. And now it's a case of, we've got these systems, these things are in place to protect you. it's like you shouldn't be scared to ask for the money up front. Well, some of it at least, because if they're telling you no, then that tells you they're a bad payer anyway. So,
but we do with some of your clients that say they've got a 30-day wait, you don't get paid for 30 days. We'll send the invoice at the start of the month.
Yeah.
Then we'll get the cleaning done all month. And then by the end of the month, the cleaning's done and then 80 pay straight away.
That's it.
What we used to do was clean for a month, send an invoice, then wait another 30 days. So we're not getting paid for 60 days.
That's right.
Then sometimes they don't even pay in the first 30 days.
Yeah.
So it's like 90 days. And it's just a nightmare. And it's the bigger companies that don't want to pay you. It's the ones that get the money.
It sounds dead obvious now, doesn't it? Like,
it does when you're talking about it, but at the time you think you're doing the right thing, right?
At the time you think you're starting out, you see these big companies and you think, oh, right, this is going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
It doesn't cross your mind for 1 minute that they'll no pay. I mean, more often than not, you will get paid, but you need to wait because they'll try to hold on to their cash as long as possible.
Of course they are. They've got it nailed, and do you know what? It's the way to do it. It is the way to do it. The longer it's in their bank account, the better it is for them. So, and their processes and systems do work, and that's why they're doing well. So it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's up to the smaller companies underneath to be sharper and have those processes in place to be on their game.
So what kind of projects will you do? Like, so do you look for like somebody who's basically getting like an extension built and you just come in and deal with everything?
We don't do groundworks anymore, so it's literally all internal stuff. So yeah, we've done a lot of renovation projects where people will get us in and it'll be kitchen, bathroom, full central heating system. And again, that's managed by our ops director, and he'll just, manage the guys. We know who's coming in when, and they all work really well together as a team now as well. So
do you know the groundworks for? So that's the pain in the arse.
Dirty, isn't it?
It's not you digging it.
I know, but I don't like it.
How do you know? Can we touch on a bit? So the business, everybody loves a good success story. So let's touch on it a wee bit. You had a business turning over millions. You lost it.
Yep.
What was the gap between losing a business and starting your new business? Because I still worry the new. My business is doing well.
Yeah.
Even if it's doing well, you still worry.
What
if I lost this?
Of course you do.
So how did you get around that? Losing, like, where would you even start with that?
It's a brilliant question. You said everybody loves a success story, but everybody loves a failure story. Everybody loves a failure story.
People love to see you failing.
They do. And you know what? Even the people that have got a good mindset and like success, they like that failure. People like the kind of rags to riches story, don't they? So
that's why we call this from scheme to boss.
From scheme
people
to boss.
From housing estates.
Yeah.
Maybe didn't get the best of starting life or whatever.
That's it.
And now they're doing well, so
that definitely applies to me. I've been up and down more times than a
yo-yo.
So I'm from the scheme. I grew up in a council estate, and I was really lucky. I had a brilliant childhood, but I think we grew up with that mindset that people like us didn't have businesses and people like us wouldn't do well, and
just get a job. That was it.
You get a job. If you're lucky, if you're one of the better ones in the family, you get a job.
I couldn't get a job
I couldn't even get one.
when I left school, I actually went into McDonald's with a Celtic trackie on for an interview.
You're the kind of guy I'm just talking about.
But I couldn't get a job.
It was you that went for the interview, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. Then I couldn't get an apprenticeship for 3 years in a row. I couldn't get an apprenticeship because I got a 5 for maths.
Yeah.
So I struggled to get a job for years, saying I wasn't good enough, but now I've got a cleaning company employing about 30 people. So
there you go.
Everybody needs that opportunity.
Definitely. But in terms of how I turned it round, so I think, when we lost the business, it was, I don't know if MD listening has ever been through this, but what we went through was absolutely horrendous. I never expected it. And it's not just a business, you lose yourself as well. You lose your purpose and, who am I, what am I doing? And then you go through all that, I'm not good at business. If I was that good, this wouldn't have happened. Maybe I'll just go back and get a job. We touched briefly on that, didn't we?
See, that's exactly what I done.
I'm not good.
I obviously can't do this. I'll go and work for somebody thinking, they'll look after all the finances and I can just concentrate on the job. But
I'll just work hard and I'll go home and then I don't need to think about it.
It doesn't leave you.
No, you become unemployable.
But that's what
you
said on Taylor's talk the other day. That's what he said to me. He's like, so you're unemployable. And I was like, well, aye, but I hope I never need a job again.
No, that's it.
Because if people watch the podcast, they're going to be like, this guy's saying he's unemployable.
That's it. For good reasons, though.
Aye, you kind of do, because it doesn't leave you.
No, you're absolutely right. So I think for us, we went through a process that I just never expected. I explain it like grief because it was a grief, because our business was our life, and I know you guys can
relate to that.
It's your baby, and you speak about it, you eat, sleep, breathe it. It's all about your ideas and what's went well and how proud you are and all these projects you're doing, and even your social circle turns into a lot of business people, and we're obviously really embarrassed and ashamed, I think, as well.
See, the embarrassed thing, I think that's something for me as well. I think I would be more embarrassed rather than gutted that I've lost my business. I'd be more worried about what other people think, because I'm active on social media. like I share my story, doing good, doing bad, and then
you're
people
on LinkedIn telling people how good a businessman you are.
Well, no, you're always learning, aren't you? But that for me, the embarrassment factor would probably be the thing that would affect me the most.
That was the biggest thing that impacted us. So we became really isolated. We cut everybody off, every contact and business that we had. We just, and I mean, ignored their calls. You know, it was like, couldn't even bear to speak to them. And a lot of these people had good intentions. They were wanting to see if we were okay, but we just couldn't face it. So we isolated ourselves for a long time. We had a couple of kind of hobby businesses that were just ticking over, and that basically paid the bills just and no more. But I think the big thing, I know I can speak to you about this, James, because I know you're into the self-development stuff, and I know you've had coaches, etc. But
I'm not.
You're not yet.
I actually said that to him. I was like, well, maybe I'll be convinced.
You're open to it.
I'm more open to it. Aye.
Yeah. So I think it's switching from that place to what we didn't realise was we had a complete victim mentality. You know, you're looking at all the bad, you're focused on all the negative. What are people saying? What are people thinking? Poor me, this is a nightmare, why me? And it was flipping that from gratitude, and it was something that happened to me where I seen people who were going through an absolutely horrendous time in their lives, and things like you just couldn't even imagine, things with their kids, awful things had happened to their kids, you know, they'd been through actual grief. And that was a switch for me. So I switched from that victim mentality to that gratitude and thinking, you know, well, what do I have? Still got a roof over my head, barely, because we were about 6 weeks away from bankruptcy. But at this moment in time, I've got a roof over my head.
You had nothing then?
Nothing, sold everything to survive.
Getting by?
Barely getting by. My classic party line, I wrote about it in my book, was that I took a tin of coins to a Coinstar machine, and that was to pay for my 3-year-old's nursery uniform, and that was a turning point as well. So yeah, switching from gratitude. So I'm going, you know, my family's healthy. I've got family support. There's not a lot of food in the fridge, but there's stuff in it, and there's a roof. And see that switch in mindset, it's amazing what starts to happen round about you, where you just start to become wired for opportunities, because we went from that multi-million-pound business and knowing exactly what we're doing to making money and paying people and being good to people to how do you actually make money? Like, how do you actually get money now?
You're obviously good at it because you built a business.
Yeah,
but over 5.
I said that to Alex, but you forget that. You forget that you've been running a multi-million-pound business for the last 5 years. You know, you just focus on how bad you are and what mistakes you've made, and you beat yourself up and you become critical. But that flipping mindset was it for me, and I picked up this book, and it was called The Third Circle Theory. And it was all about how people operate in life in 3 circles. So you've got the lower level who maybe don't work or just have a job and they're not open to any exception or opportunities. And then you've got the middle circle, where people who maybe start to do a wee bit better and they get an insight into there's life beyond the 9 to 5. And then you get the third circle, which is the 2% of the world, your Richard Bransons, your Elon Musks. And people in the second circle can dip into the third circle, but they don't often stay there. Yep. They get pulled back to the second circle because it's like, oh, I don't have time, I don't have money. I'll do it when I get to this stage. I'll employ staff when I'm ready. I'll do this, I'll do that. And it's fascinating. And I thought, I was operating in that third circle for a while. And now I think I might be in the first circle. So how do I get back to the second circle? So it really planted a seed. And for me, I invested. We spoke earlier, Alex, about the business coach. I had 1 credit card left, and it had a $4,000 limit on it. And I put that into a coach, £750 a month it was costing me.
I think that's ballsy, man. Like, I don't
do you know what? I had to do something. I knew something had to change, and going to that Coinstar machine and bringing that back to have that uniform, that nursery uniform for my 3-year-old, and I just kept looking at his face, and I'm like,
a wee bit of that,
can I
like,
do this?
I don't mean any of it. A wee bit of that feels to me like a gambler who's constantly waiting on that last horse, and they go, right, this is my last $4,000. I'm going to put it on this horse and bet it on, because
it's totally different though, isn't it? Because it's an investment.
But you could have got. But how did you pick? It's more meaning like, how did you pick the right business coach? Because there will be ones out there that would take your $4,000 and then you'd be like, nothing to show for that.
But I'll tell you the difference. I know with anything that I do in life, if I invest in something, I'll make it work. Aye. Especially since the loss of that business, and I had to lose that business to realise that the importance of money, the value of money. Because when you're making a lot of money, we weren't silly with it, but it was always there. It was always coming. We never had to think about it. The bills were paid. And so I realised the value of money, and I thought, that's my last credit card.
Aye.
I need to make this work. And if this coach tells me what to do, I'm going to do that and more.
As long as you put the work in, it will work.
And that is the philosophy of coaches. Coaches don't have a magic wand. You don't pay your first month and your business doubles its turnover. There's work to be done. You've got to listen and you've got to do what you're told. So this was somebody that I looked at that had a good track record, was getting results.
I think doing your homework on the right coach is going to be...
I met with her twice for an hour, and my gut feeling and my intuition was there, and I thought, I'm going to do it. And it was brilliant. It was the best part of it, turning that path around for me and pushing me out of my comfort zone and making me do things that I wasn't ready for, but it was a starting point.
Right, so we spoke about, so see when you set up your new company, obviously you said it as well, my company's my baby.
Yeah.
Do you not think that's a wee bit of should you think of your company as your company rather than your baby and just kind of separate yourself for that? Or is it a good thing to still be like, okay, it's my baby? And because I said I was putting in personal money and to cover wages and stuff like that for guys that we didn't have any work for them that month.
Yeah.
So it's like, you better have just kind of separating your private for that.
I'll tell you what I've learned. I don't think it should be your baby, but I think everybody should have a company with good intentions. Mm-hmm. There's a difference.
You've got to be passionate about it.
You've got to care in some sense.
I think my thing before was I was far too personal with it, but I was way too personal with it. And as I say, it's like having staff, having a showroom, having a bigger unit, having the nicer vans. It was always a status for me, so that people could see it rather than because I'm like, well, they can't see your bank account. Well, my bank account had nothing in it, but looking at it. Looking from the outside, looking in, I looked like I was making money.
It's a mistake that so many people make.
I fell into that before, but never know do that again.
No, exactly, because it's only you that suffers, and everybody else might think you're doing great, but if you're going home and you're not getting the money, you're not making the money that you want, and
I having to go home and explain to the wife I wasn't taking a wage that month.
Exactly. I bet that went down like a lead balloon.
I mean, my wife was really supportive of it at the time. And that's how it was like. When I came back to her saying I was working for somebody else, and she could tell I wasn't happy.
I know.
And she's like, look, do it again, learn from your mistakes.
That's it.
That's how this time I'm a lot more open to like business mentors and all that kind of stuff. And I'm active, like doing things like the podcast, getting advice off people like yourself, listening to people's experience. When before I just thought I knew it.
Yeah, that's it.
When I clearly didn't.
Still think that the news saying I don't need a coach, what's a coach got to do for me? Yeah.
We'll soon see.
But it's a never ending thing, I still invest in myself. I said that before we started the podcast. I invest a lot of money.
The biggest people in the world have still got coaches and mentors.
Absolutely.
Billionaires have coaches and mentors.
There's so much to learn still. I've got millions of stuff to learn.
Aye, really has.
Has he, or you're just making that up?
He probably has.
You might know him.
I was on the phone to him last night.
Aye, but the biggest, wealthiest people in the world all have coaches and mentors. If you stop learning, then I think that's dangerous.
If they don't have coaches and mentors, they're surrounding themselves with people at that level. And it's the same thing because you're learning from people who are on the same journey as you, as well as a higher level.
So what can I expect? Like, so for instance, if I take on a mentor like that for my, what can I expect from them? Obviously, they're not going to come in and look at my business and tell me what to do.
Yeah, I love that.
Or is it a case that you phone them up and you go, look, I'm having issues with this. What is it?
I want to destroy the myths of a business mentor, and I think that's why people are fearful, and I know that because my clients have said that. I never got in touch with you because I had a big massive VAT bill and I was embarrassed. I'm like, I'm not interested in your VAT bill. Excuse me. And then people saying, my accounts maybe weren't up to date, so I wasn't ready for a coach, and like that's not what I do. No offence, I don't want to be sitting looking through people's accounts.
Aye.
And I'm not interested in your VAT bill. I'm interested in you. I'm interested in where's your business at today? Where do you want to take it? And then we work out how we're going to get there. And of course, money comes into it. We need to look at what prices you're charging. Are you making the money you think you are making? So we will dig into that. But I'm not interested in back end stuff. I'm not interested in personal stuff. And a lot of that comes out. But for me, it's more about what do you want out of this business? Where do you want it to be? Where's it going? And how we're going to get there? And then from there, we obviously dissect it and we make a plan that we're both comfortable with. And everybody responds differently. That's why I always say, how does this work for you?
Aye.
Do you want to meet once every 2 weeks? Do you want to meet once a month? Do you want to join the online membership? What works for you? Because it needs to be on their terms. There's no point in me coming in and starting to tell everybody what to do and it doesn't work.
Aye.
So would it be a case of, say, for instance, I'm sitting thinking, right, I'm going to invest in this bit of machinery or something like that. Is that a case? Is it somebody like I'd say to you, I'm thinking about buying it. So I bought a $3,000 edge bander last month.
Yeah.
I've not used it.
Right, okay.
But
why did you buy it?
Well, that's it, because I had nobody to really, I didn't have the sounding board to say.
But why did you buy it?
Because I thought it'll make the doors better. I was like, what it'll do is it'll improve our quality. We bought it, started using it in a couple of jobs, and it turned out it did improve the quality, but it didn't improve the quality to the point where the customers ever going to notice. So basically it improved the quality of my vanity.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say that I've got it, so I can say that that's what we do with the doors.
Yep.
When it turns out I've just put a service in there that customers don't actually need or want it.
I think that's what a coach and a
I
mentor
think I'd
should do as well.
convince myself that I needed that more than...
Just ask the question and make sure that you're making the right decision. So the question that I asked you there, why did you buy it? But why did you buy it? And then you told me, and it's like, right, so is that a good enough reason to buy it? How much money is it going to make you? Mm-hmm. Is it going to make a difference to how much money you're going to make?
So you could have saved him $3,000, there you go.
Asking that, I've just saved it.
Turned out it didn't make any difference because we couldn't put our prices up because obviously we were already... The price is the price, so we couldn't put the prices up because then we're having to educate people why yours is a bit dearer than the other guys that have not got them edge banded, and it turned out like I don't think people care.
No, well that's what a coach
I've got it now, so if anybody wants to buy a second-hand edge bander hardly used, then
it's talking you through it. It's helping you make those decisions, and then the biggest question I'd be asking is, what's your cash flow looking like? You don't need to divulge that information, but is there money in the business to have that outlay just now? Mm-hmm. And if it's something that you really want, is there another way around it? Can we finance it and maybe spread the risk a wee bit more? So it's asking these questions so that you get to a point where we'd probably get to that point in 5 minutes where you'd go, do you know what, I don't actually need it.
Because I've done it with my wife and I just don't listen to her anyway. So even she was saying, you didn't really, in my head, I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yep, that's
so
it.
It's like I just wasn't into it. I think she's like, you'll listen to other people rather than listening to her.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like, but us two, we use each other like a sounding board quite a lot for it. It's
that's what you said earlier, having people around. You might not need a coach, but surround yourself with people in business. Definitely. It helps massively.
Definitely. No, it works. And it's, for me, it's about investing in niche as well now. So if there's a weakness in my business, like for example, marketing's, it's changing and evolving like every week, every 2 weeks. For me, that's a big thing just now. So I'm investing in a lot of coaches and mentors to teach me this stuff because you're never going to live long enough to know it all yourself. Or
even the coaches have coaches.
Coaches have coaches, yeah. Like, of course, I invest in self-development.
How do you find, obviously, there's a big change in marketing these days.
Yeah.
So, like, I done the 75% of all the work a day comes from TikTok videos.
Brilliant.
And it's like how the bigger companies like yourself find that. So, also, I know you'd spoke to Craig. Yep. So he's into it. He's into it in a massive way. He's got his staff and all that doing it. Do you do anything similar, or are you going to be looking to do anything similar?
Facebook and Instagram's big for us. We run Facebook ads as well, so we get a lot of work through Facebook ads, and we've got a system that basically captures all the inquiries from wherever it comes from, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, emails. Because I think that's a big thing for the trades as well, all these messages, but like any business. You've got inquiries through LinkedIn, you've got inquiries through Facebook, you've got emails, you've got people coming through your website, and it's like, where do you start? Right. So we invested a lot of money in a system that basically captures all that and puts them into an opportunity workflow so we can see it, and it doesn't matter where they come from. So it's things like that we're constantly investing to streamline things and make sure that we're not missing anything, because especially in Facebook ads, we're spending a lot of money on that, but you could get 10 inquiries through in a week, and if you miss one,
we see it all the time. I see it all the time. You see an ad and you inquire about it and they don't get back to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, see, to me,
what a waste of money.
Madness.
It's waste of money.
It's impossible for us not to get back to you. Like, we've physically made, if somebody inquires to us, we're getting back to you.
There you go.
It's like we've deliberately made it like that because you were spending, say, £1,000 a month on Facebook ads.
Yeah.
And then they were all sitting there and you're like, can I phone name? You're doing it. It's just flinging money away.
You do that sometimes. We spoke about this the other week. You said you've got all these inquiries for Facebook, but you've not went through them yet. And I said to you, so why are you advertising on Facebook? He said to keep the brand out there. So again, that's where a coach would be good for you. You're spending money and you're not phoning all the inquiries up.
What we
just answered your own question.
So what we did with that was we got a virtual assistant.
Yep.
In which her job is she phones them all just to every one that comes in, she phones them all just to make sure they got it. But then we were getting backlash on that on TikTok. So people will ask for inquiry just to see how much you were, and you're cold calling me. It's like, no, we're not cold calling you.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not cold calling you. You gave us your number. It's like, and then you were getting people, oh, you didn't phone me. It's like, you can't win. There's a fine line.
You'll never please MD. You just need to do what works for the business, and what you're doing is working. You'll generate leads and you'll generate business. So
do you have a team that's kind of dedicated to that?
Yeah, so we've got an office team as well. We're a wee bit light on that. We're recruiting at the moment, but it all goes through the office and the ops director as well, so that we've got a handle on it, because it's crazy, and it's my fear is it's so damaging for your business, and I speak about this all the time. So it really annoys me when people don't get back to me about something, like really annoys me. And I've actually had this conversation with some of my clients where I've said, listen, you've not come back to me because you're too busy, or I'll get to it later, or whatever. And what if I've got a team of maybe 3 or 4 of your dream clients? I think I'm going to pass your details on.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you've not got back to me, so you don't realise that you've not just lost me as a client, you've lost my whole network. Because when somebody says, can you recommend a top-notch cleaning company? And for example,
I wouldn't recommend that, Milo.
I would.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, can you recommend a company? And let's say James had ignored my last 2-3 messages, I'd be going, no. And that might be his dream contract. That might be the contract that you're waiting on.
The client as well. So if you're going to ignore you, what's the chances of me ignoring
100%. There's no way I'm taking that risk to pass you on to my network and my business associates if I don't know you're going to get back to them. And I speak about this all the time, and people are like, but I'm busy. That's not an excuse. Or, I know I've seen that inquiry, but that's not somebody that I really want to work with. But go back and tell them. Go back and tell them, because they'll appreciate that and say, all right, I appreciate you getting back to me. It's not a job that you want to take on or can take on at the moment, but at least you've get back to them and you've left a good, feeling, a good taste in their mouth. And I always say as well, see if you are too busy, if you get somebody you could recommend, people love that. Listen, I'm too busy to take that work on just now, but listen, here's a company that I work really closely with that do the same as me. I'd highly recommend them. You might want to get in touch. People love that because they relate that back to you. They relate that back to that you've actually helped them. You've not went in and done work, but you've helped them. You've taken the time out your day to say, here's a recommendation.
Takes 2 seconds to drop a text.
Talk about free marketing, honestly.
I get asked the other week, I don't know if you've seen it, somebody asked me to go and wrap one door.
Right.
And I said we don't do wee jobs, but I can put you on. And then I get told, Mr. Burry Big Boys. Too good for the wee jobs. It's like, oh my God, man.
There's ways of saying these things as well. It's like, well, it's not a job that I'm taking on at the moment.
It's not cost effective, not that kind of stuff.
It's that kind of thing. So it's just finding the right way to say it.
How long were you in? So, for you lost your business, it wasn't even that long ago you lost your business, was
2016.
So that's not that long ago.
Yeah, what's that? 7 years now.
When did you start your new business?
So we were involved in sort of hobby businesses. We did that for a while actually. So We Love Your Projects wasn't on the table until 2019. So it was
19.
3 years.
You built that massively in only.
Well, do you know what? Everybody says that, right? So it never actually. We put it all together and packaged it and got it ready and had all the marketing good to go. We never launched it till January 2020, which is obviously not great in terms of COVID. 3 months before COVID. But everybody says that. It's like, I cannot believe that you've built another multi-million-pound company in the space of 3 years. And I'm like, that's not 3 years. That's 16 years. That's all the pain, all the failures, the mistakes from building the first company, and all the things that worked in the first place. People say you learn from your mistakes. You do. Right. But there was a lot of stuff that worked massively well
were you
scared?
The first time.
Like,
were you ever thinking about you're never going to start a company again, or were you scared to?
Never.
Nah?
Never. And it's the strangest thing. I definitely felt the emotions of, being uncomfortable, and I lost confidence and self-belief. Fear's never something that I've felt in business. It's the strangest thing, and I don't know why, because you would think fear would be the biggest thing. I don't have that fear. I don't have the fear that something's going to happen or it might go wrong. It's a bad mindset to have.
I think that's what holds people back in. The fear of something going wrong. So
I'm not going to take
is
that
massive
risk.
In it.
Because something might happen. Yep. I'm not going to put myself out there too much in case it fails and then everybody laughs at me. I'm not going to do this. It's a mindset thing.
Talk yourself out something before you trying it.
It's a murky. How do you start something like that? Like, so for instance, I started mine with just, I'm out on the tools.
Yeah.
You started yours, you were out cleaning it.
Yeah.
How, obviously, I don't know if you're, for all I know you're a gas engineer. For all I know you're a gas engineer, but how do you start something like that before being able to be the person out on the tools?
I think that's where the fear comes in. It's not being scared to take on people. So we did throw people at it, but mean, my husband, again, he's a gas and heating engineer to trade. He was out in the tools initially in 2020. You know, he was out doing servicing and boilers and care plan customers. And it was, you know, sleeves up, get your hands dirty and build this thing. And that was difficult because he was used to being in a suit and employing, you know, ridiculous amounts of people and dictating.
You're on the tools.
He loved it. He absolutely loved it. He loved it. He liked being back in and loved dealing with the customers. And I think you guys will relate to this. You become a very natural salesperson as well. So when you're in speaking to the customers, because you know the pain points and you know what they want and you know what they need. And if you're coming from a place of good intention, the business can grow from that, you know, by having the boss guy in at the forefront.
So that helped massively with Stephen going back on the tools.
Totally, and building relationships with the customers again, and then bringing good people on board. So
how do you find working with your husband?
Do you know what? It took a long time.
Any big arguments? Having to tell him he's not doing it right?
Listen, see, years ago, I used to swipe desks and everything. It was the tension and the emotion behind it was crazy, and you've got to learn how to manage that. But I think something clicked one day where we realised that we might have a different approach, but we've got the same end goal. We want the same thing. We're both coming from a place of good intention. We want to grow a business. We want to create something that people talk about for all the right reasons. So why we come in, like, why is the friction?
Work well together. You've built two successful businesses. I know you learnt from your mistakes in the first one, but you still grew it to be a massive success.
It was very successful. But yeah, we've got very, very different strengths, and I think we've learned to utilise those strengths together and work together. But I mean, I said that to you before we come in. There's times where we don't see each other for, you know, days on end and passing ships because we're both busy. So, but no, when we come together, we're very, very good. What we are very good at is working together at a higher level. So when we've got the teams of people, because then you can get creative, you can see things from up here rather than seeing things from everything round about you. It feels like it's closing in. So we recognised that a long time ago. When the first business started doing particularly well, that's when we were operating at a higher level. So you're almost an outsider looking in. You can make better decisions. So you
can see the stuff that's gone wrong. If you're working in the business all the time, you don't see what's going wrong around you, but as soon as you get a step back.
And together you make the good decisions, because Stephen's very logical and analytical. I'm like, risk taker, fly by the seat of my pants, let's do it. Do it.
Let's spend your last $3,000 on a course.
Let's do it, yep. Without speaking to Stephen, it's done. Whereas that helps us make the right decision, because I'll push him to do stuff. But there's times where he's like, let's think about this for a minute. And I'm like, oh, do you know what, you're right. That could have cost me money. So I think between us, that's why we've got a great balance of, you know, being able to work together to build success, because that balance of the two different kind of personality traits really work. I
think sometimes that's what I need, somebody to go, right, let's just slowly roll down
a bit. You've decisions yourself, you've not really got any team around you. So
before you know it, I'm doing interviews with people and all that, and then I'm sitting going, I don't even know the bigger picture. Can I actually afford these guys? So I was taking guys on and I'm going, right, I've got this month's wage in the bank. But when their work came in that month, I was going, oh shit, what do I do? But before you know, in my head it was like, no, just go for it, because if I do it, then
that's it.
So it's like sometimes you need somebody to go, look, just
it's good to have somebody
slow your roll a wee bit.
Somebody to rein you in a wee bit. Although I don't like that term, and I'm forever saying to him, don't rein me in.
Entrepreneurs like that, don't they? Just go for it, get an idea.
You win or you learn.
He messaged me on a Sunday and we were doing here on a Monday, did a podcast.
That's the way to do it.
It was good, but wasn't it?
That's the way to do it. That's my style. I love it.
Can I ask a question? It might be a silly question. So you had your business, you lost your business, but your true passion is like being a coach and a mentor. You love helping people. You wouldn't have did that possibly if you didn't lose your first business.
No.
Do you think that could have been a blessing in disguise?
100%. I know it was a blessing in disguise.
Really?
I know.
So you lost a business, it was turning over millions, and it could have been one of the best things to happen to you.
Yeah, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Was this a stupid question then?
It's not a stupid question. It's a brilliant question.
So it just shows you.
It's the best thing that's ever happened
having
to
that
me.
wee setback, not even failure, it's a setback. You know what I mean? Because you've got there in the end. It's like just having that.
Completely changed me as a person.
That's
totally
inspirational for anybody that could be watching this then.
Honestly,
who might have lost their business or losing their business. Take it as a positive.
The messages that I've had from people who have maybe just lost a business like 6 months ago, a girl I know a year ago, and she's going, but I'm feeling a lot better now, and I'm looking at her and I'm like, a year's raw. It's still raw. It's not a long time, but honestly, that's why I share my story all the time, because it is honestly the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I love that. I think it's mad.
It's changed my myself, I've changed as a person, I've changed my whole career path, you know, and I've managed to impact so many other people, hundreds and hundreds of people. And I wrote that on LinkedIn today about one of my clients. You know, I actually didn't realise that by changing people's businesses, the impact that it would have in their lives. I never ever set out to do that. But this is a guy who's now spending more time with his family. He's making good money. He's enjoying his business again. I've impacted his wife and his son. And that, for me, there's no better feeling in the whole entire world than that, knowing that I've helped a family. Yep. That's not really what a business coach or a business mentor is meant to do. So that's came as a surprise to me, and that's what's became addictive. Yep. Because you get these messages and these stories and these results, and I'm like, who else would want to do anything else in the whole entire world except that? That's what it's about.
If you're enjoying it and you can turn that into a business as well, then
and turn it into a business.
Better, isn't it?
It is. It's one of the businesses where I said this at the beginning. I used to say to my husband, like, it's really, really strange. I felt that I've just had fun for a month, you know, and I've been with all these people, and then you're looking at the bank account and it's like, where did that come from?
That's brilliant.
And it's the best place to be in business.
You feel quite like, I don't know if you've had anybody, but if you're mentoring somebody and they just don't listen and they fail, do you feel?
I've cut them off. I've cut people off before. I've cut people off for no paying invoices in time. I've cut people off for, you know, that constant excuses.
So it's not just about the money. You can take whatever fee off me monthly, but if I'm not listening to you, you'll cut me off.
It's about results.
Just keep, all right, James, don't
I
do the work.
I need to get results.
Aye.
And I need to enjoy it. And if I'm met with constant excuses and you know, constant late payments, and I've said that it's not about the payment, it's about your discipline. You know, you're not doing what you say you've got. I'll get that to you on Friday. Oh, sorry, I'll get it to you on Monday. Oh, sorry, I'll get it to you. That's a waste of my time. It's a waste of the office time. And if you can't commit to a tiny wee task like paying an invoice, are you going to commit to all the strategies that I'm going to give you and all the advice? Are you? I will. So I do give people chances, but I'm like, I've got a 2 strikes and you're out rule. I say that to all my clients. 2 strikes and you're out.
That's one of the things that I changed this time was like, so like, see, paying an invoice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This time it's very, I buy like all my materials now, I buy it up front.
Yeah.
Like I don't, because we were getting to the end of the month and you were thinking you've got money, and then you were getting a 12 grand invoice, and then you were getting, so this time it's like, I make sure that everything's covered before I do anything like that. So even like the virtual assistant, it's like as soon as she sent me that invoice, it was like, stop what I did, get it paid. Because it'll be when before I'd be like, okay, accounts do that, and then I was just kind of emailing, say accounts. Not, I mean, it was my sister through the wall. I mean, it's like, but just passing that buck track. This time I make sure that all that's covered. I've got money. Make sure I've got that, and I sleep better at night for it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's a mindset thing, and it's that saying in it: how you do something's how you do everything.
Mindset's
so that's
massive,
always a red flag.
Everything in life. Before I started a business, I heard the word mindset, but I knew nothing about it. I knew if I've got a business, everything's mindset, and it's mad how your brain could.
Do you know what's fascinating? Right, I always say to people, see whatever you've got going on in your life, see whatever problem, whatever challenges, whatever's happening, you can fix it by doing one thing. And that's working on yourself.
Working on yourself.
Whether that's suffering from anxiety, whether it's overthinking, you know, whether it's cash flow, whether it's whatever. Confidence, self-belief, all those things can be fixed by this one thing.
I used to think, how's changing my mindset going to help me grow my business? That can't happen, but it does.
It does. It changes totally everything. There's a story from me switching from that victim mindset to a place of gratitude.
So you could have been in the house for the next year, not trying to build another business or anything.
Feeling sorry for myself.
Feeling sorry for yourself.
It's like you built it before, you can build it again and learn from it.
That's exactly
build it bigger and better than before.
And see, when you switch to that place of gratitude, that's the thoughts that start to come in where you're going, do you know what? It's exactly what you just said there. I'm like, I can do this again.
How hard is it to switch back so far?
Hard.
You can't just say to yourself, right, because I've said to somebody before about mindset, you're going, I can't just change my thoughts overnight, but
no, you can't.
Need to work on it, don't you?
So surrounding yourself with people. Surrounding yourself with people like, you know, you're starting to rub off on Alex. You can tell because he's like, right, I'm maybe a wee bit more intrigued and I'm interested. Like, or what do you mean by that? Or so if you're not surrounded with people like that, then you're not exposed to it, so you don't know.
Like, so doing this way, James, is like, you know, speaking to people like yourself, it's like, it's putting myself into that situation when it does rub off on you.
So it's consuming, and that's what I always say to people. I use this wee analogy, right, when I hardly drink anymore, but like, you know, when you've got one of the really, really bad hangovers, right, and you wake up the next day and you're like, why did I do that? That was a nightmare. Just hide me away under the covers. And then what you do is you just feed it, right? So you go tell everybody how bad you're feeling. So people come in, you're like, oh, I'm feeling terrible, and then you're saying in your head, I'm feeling so bad, I feel sick, my head's sore, I never slept well. You're reinforcing all this negativity, and then what you do is you throw crap into your body. So you go and get a McDonald's and a 2 litre bottle of brew, and
you lie about your bed all day.
You're feeding this hangover, and you're lying there and you're not getting up. And see with a hangover, see if you get up and start to say, do you know what, I'm going to make a point of getting up today. I'm going to get some fresh air, right? I'm going to get some water down me. I'm going to get some good food. I'm going to listen to a good podcast. I'm going to get out in the fresh air, and your hangover's not going to be as bad, right? And that's the same with life. It's like if you tell yourself that things are bad and the world's against you and things are crap and staff are a pain and, you know, all these things, guess what? You know, you're onto a shit life. But if you switch and start to look for the positives and consume that content, and people are like, oh, I don't really know anybody that's on the same journey as me, or... And I'm like, you've got podcasts, you've got books, you've got...
Literally everywhere, innit?
YouTube, you've got TED Talks, you've got documentaries, you've got, you know, are you actually making an effort to be surrounded with these people? There's places that you can go, you know, to find these people and connect with them, and that's what your life needs to be about. Consume it and feed your mind with it, and it goes back to having that hangover. There'll be some days that you wake up and you go, I don't think this is working, this positive outlook, or you need to do it anyway.
See,
you just feed yourself.
I'm not a big drinker. I'll drink like a couple of times a year. I'll have like a wee blowout. But it's like I had one the other week, and he's sending me voice notes on the Monday morning telling me to get up out my bed. Know what I mean?
He's not
get
answering
up,
me.
get
I'm like,
back to
what's up with you? You're alive.
But when they leave me alone, know what I mean? And it's like things like that help. Like,
does totally help. So that mindset's huge. So I love that saying, you know, whatever problem you've got in your life, see if you work on yourself, you'll solve it. And it's like this, the PR that I've had recently with the Daily Record and the Sun. The Sun got a hold of my story and did it in true Sun style.
Did you reach out to them?
No, I did not reach out to the Sun. No, the Sun got it off the back of Glasgow Live and the Daily Record. And it was actually the first interview I did was with the Daily Express, and then everything else was off the back of it. I never spoke to the Daily Record or the Sun.
That's how, obviously, I met you about 3-4 years ago.
Yep.
And then I seen your article in the Sun. I thought, Angela's the perfect person for this podcast. Because something you told me, I know I spoke at this before you came in, 4 years ago or something? 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I did a day workshop with you.
Yep.
I just started doing business, as you're
That's
saying,
right.
try and surround yourself with people.
Yep.
So I went out to give it a try, but you had a bit of string. Said, this is your life. So if you're 25 and now you cut a quarter of it off. And before I knew it, at the end of the day, I had a wee bit of string like that, and that's how much life I had left. But when I started, it was a big... It's hard to explain, but I'm getting on here.
He was going to show you, but she didn't want to do it.
But that opened my full eyes up a bit. I've got a string and a pair of scissors. Don't, James.
Don't give me
that's
a pair
been in my
of
mind
scissors
for
in a row.
years, and that's always stuck with me. That sometimes if I'm not motivated, I'm sitting down, I'm going... Get up, you bit of string. Get up. You've only got a wee bit of string left.
It's so true.
It must be good for you to hear that. But
It's
like,
brilliant.
That's stuck in my
like
mind for years,
but
honestly.
you've done that, and it's like a wee bit you couldn't even remember doing it.
Yep.
Like, you've obviously, like, at the time you've done it, and you've knew exactly what you're talking about. But time's passed, and then for him to talk it, you're going, oh, I do remember that. But
It's brilliant.
4 years, and he's still going on about this.
It's brilliant, and that's what it's about. It's about having an impact on people and having a positive influence. And I think I'm passionate about it because I know what I've managed to turn around. So I'm like, if I can do that, people can turn their businesses around, people can make more money, they can get time off, they can start enjoying, you know, the business that they're maybe kind of falling out of love with a wee bit. So that's why I'm passionate about it. So no, it's brilliant to hear.
Was a bit you tempted to go and get a job for somebody else, but because you would have thought,
Do you know what?
I'd imagine
Never.
you'd be a good asset for any company.
Maybe,
to be on the payroll.
or it might have been that unemployable thing, you know, you just don't know. But no, it was never ever in my mind to go get a job. And even though money was, you know, the main focus at that time, I had to keep a roof over our head, and I had a 3-year-old.
You said you got a wee in there as well.
I had a 3-year-old, so, you know, you're tempted, but I just always knew that there was going to be another business. I didn't know what it was going to be at that point, but I was like, no, I'll just never work for anybody else. I need to create something here. And I had a total mind block of what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. But deep down, so I always say that, although you lose confidence and self-belief, there's definitely something in there that makes you go, no, there's something there that I can do, and I can turn this around.
Just try to find it. You've found your true passion because you lost a business.
Yeah.
A lot of people are stuck in a business that they don't particularly like.
Yeah.
But they keep doing it because it's paying the bills. But you need to kind of...
That's right.
I've made a lot of mistakes because I'm trying to do a bit of crypto, forex, and always come back to the cleaning industry because it's what I like and it's what I know.
See, I was racking my brains. I'm going, right, I'm going to start a business again. I was thinking, right, I'm good with like building automations and systems and stuff like that. I was like, I could do that. I could go and help companies with all that kind of stuff. And then it was like, but you're starting from a total scratch. Yeah. And it was like, well, kitchen rat, you were passionate about it. There's not really much to learn left in it for you. It's like, stick to what you know. But then I was going, but people will be like, oh, how come we get a new kitchen wrap business? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
People genuinely couldn't care less.
Nobody cares.
I think business owners get, after a certain stage, you get too complacent to think, I've made it now, I'm making a decent living, and they take their foot off the pedal a bit, and that could be the issue. Rather than keep working on the business and growing it, they get to a certain level where they're making a decent wage.
You're talking about yourself, aren't
you? Am I right? No, because that's what, obviously I'm still...
He's trying to get you to give him a kick.
That's what I've done. So I took my foot off the pedal. I've done a bit of property investing and crypto, forex, try to even start other businesses.
Yep.
Took my foot off the pedal a wee bit, but if I went back on working on my business, it's helped me massively, but not a lot of people can go back.
Yeah.
Like they let their business fall away, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think some people do that and can do that, and they think that the grass is greener, and it's like, because the property thing's huge just now, it's everywhere, absolutely everywhere, and you see all these people like, oh, I've made 20 grand this week, and I used to make 20 grand a year, and so I can understand why people are tempting, and if you do property right, there's a lot of money to be made.
I've got a couple of buy-to-lets, and I'm still dabbling in property, but I had that home buyers company, as you know, like they sell your house fast, and I did sourcing, I was sourcing properties for people, but took up so much time, spent a lot of money, wasted a lot of money, and I fell back at the cleaning because it's what I love and what I enjoy.
Definitely.
Is there one common mistake that business owners, for your perspective, if that's the word, one common mistake that people make that you see quite a lot?
Do you know what? It's actually come up a couple of times today, but worrying about what other people think. Assuming that everybody's got an opinion or that they're talking about you, or what are other people in my industry going to think of it?
Aye, definitely.
Am I getting it wrong?
We get away for that. Don't care what people think.
It holds so many people back.
That's what I worry about that. It's something you worry about what people think.
It's the one biggest thing that holds people back. It stops them from, doing videos on social media. That's the biggest thing. It's like, there's no way I'm doing a video because see Mark that I went to school with, he'll slate me if I see him at the weekend.
I get it.
Well, there you go.
I did, but see, once I get over myself, it was like, couldn't do it. It's like, it's just natural for me. Like, I'll get my phone if somebody's commented, rather than me typing it, I'll just answer it as a video.
Definitely.
And it's like, that helps. The only people I care about is my customers.
That's it.
And
that's
it's like,
a brilliant way to be.
They're the ones that look after. They're the ones that are paying the bills at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And if we can put that out there and customers know that we're going to look after them, then everything just seems to it's all falling into place nicely for us.
100%. So that's the biggest mistake. People hold themselves back. I would say another, maybe not a mistake, but I feel like a lot of businesses get into this situation where they don't want to grow because it's like, oh, that comes back to me. If I need to grow, it means that I need to employ more people, or I need to take more pressure, and there's ways of going about that.
I've got a team that does my recruitment for me, deals with the problems. If somebody phones in sick, they do it. So you need help to build the correct team.
Definitely, but you can also change a business. As it stands today, that like there's tweaks and different strategies you can put into your business that will help you make more money. Make it become more streamlined, get you more clients. You don't have to spend money in these things. You don't have to employ people to do that. And I think that's where there's just a kind of lack of not understanding, but everybody's new to business. You're not expected to go into it and know how to employ people and know how to grow and what decisions to make. That's why people need help, and that's why you need to learn.
That's the bit that I struggle with. It's like whipping my phone out and telling people what we're doing and showing them how good the quality is we can do, and educating customers.
That's exactly
the easy part. Our thing is now, it's like we're going, we've got all this work. And it's like, I'd fling staff at it. Before I would have done that. This time I'm trying to be smart about it this time. So this time I'm trying to limit my liability. So for instance, like we bring a new guy in, and what we've done is he's a fireman. So he works 4 on, 4 off. So I'm going to get him for 4 days in a row. So we're just training him up. So
that's it.
And he's happy with that. He's on the moon with it. He's found himself another job, and I've not got the responsibility. Because I used to have it in my head like, these guys have got wains, these guys have got families. I've not got that responsibility now, and he'll still be as good as somebody that's working 5 days a week. I'm still getting him for 4 days anyway. So it's no much different. So we're trying to just be a wee bit smarter about it this time.
That's
just
right.
to get away my anxiety.
That's exactly it. It's about being smarter. You know, a lot of people, especially the trades businesses just now, if you're half decent, you're busy, and you're, you know, batting away work because you can't cope with it. But I always say to the trades guys, but this applies to a lot of businesses. If you're really, really busy and you're working 7, 8 hours a week and you're a headless chicken, you're stressed, and, you know, if you offer 3 or 4 services, what one makes you the most money? Focus on that one, right? If that makes you the most money and it takes you the least amount of time or whatever it is, that's the one that you focus on. Why are you running about doing all these, you know, 60 jobs in a week that, you know, if there's a mistake that you don't make money because the margins are so tight? And these are the things that business owners need to know. They need to look at their different options, their different price points and what services they offer. What are the best ones? What are the easiest ones to get? What are the ones that make the most money? What are the ones that they enjoy? Focus on that.
And push on that rather than...
Stop trying to take everything on and do it all and respond to every single inquiry.
That's another mistake I made when I started my cleaning company. I was a gutter cleaner, a window cleaner, pressure washer. I was ripping carpets up, painting houses. I was just doing everything.
But that's how you learn, and that's why you are where you are.
I remember you phoned me one time, you were absolutely buzzing. You're like, I mean, we're doing painting and everything in houses now.
Yeah.
Now you're sitting going, nah,
right, all that. But
that's it. It's learning that no every opportunity is an opportunity. You know, don't say yes to everything just because a client says, "Can you paint my house?" when you're in there and you're thinking,
I was like,
that's an
yes,
extra
come
couple
on,
$100
she's got a paintbrush out. My mum was laying carpets.
That's one of the things I get a lot of backlash about. But so it's like we concentrate on kitchens and kitchens only, even though we could wrap your bedroom furniture.
Yep.
But we're no set up for it. So for it, and it's no even. We've got all the tools, we've got all the materials, we can do the actual job.
Yep.
But we're no set up for dealing with inquiries. We're no set up for all that kind of stuff. So
That's
now
it.
we just go, no, we're just kitchen wrappers, and that's it. Even though we can do these other things, what's the point?
Yep.
Like, because we'll find a kitchen to wrap that week. We like going in and doing somebody's bed. We used to go into people's houses and it'd be like, we'll do your kitchen, we'll wrap your fireplace, we'll do your bedrooms, I'll do a deal for everything in the full house.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where, and then people were you're putting pictures up of wardrobes and people going, how much is that? And you're going, I don't even know.
I know.
You used to do vans and signs and all
we've done
that.
it.
Shop
Done
signs.
it.
You then
Engine,
just
everything.
become a jack of all trades, and your ideal clients don't want a jack of all trades. They want the specialist, don't they?
Well, I heard you talking about it the other day. It was the E-Myth.
Yeah.
It was that book that made me realise
It's a
that
brilliant book.
I
Who
need
told you
to.
about that book?
You know.
You read it, James?
I tell everybody. It changed my full
Feels
business.
as if it was written for you.
It was that book that made me realise that.
Yep.
Right, this is how I should be running the company.
That's
like,
it.
Everybody gets a consistent quote.
Yep.
Everybody gets the same level of service.
That's right.
And all that kind of stuff. If you ask one person for a review, you're asking them all for a review.
That's
and
exactly it.
And that's how we built the business, so we can flow it a lot easier like that.
Absolutely.
But it's a good book, innit?
It's a brilliant book. One of many, no, but it's a
I don't
brilliant
mind
one.
it saying it's not a good book. It changed my full business. It changed yours. Everybody
Totally.
I speak to.
One of my
And
first
I would
books
never
as
have thought
well.
that because of a book. Because
Yep.
I was the manager, I was an accountant, I was 5 different people at once. And you read that book, it tells you
Yep.
you can't do that. It's
No.
impossible.
I was sitting sending an invoice to somebody yesterday, know what I mean? What about my
I
day?
know. Just dilute
Read that book
yourself.
again. So what is
Absolutely.
the plans for the future, Angela?
Plans for the future, in terms of the mentorship and the coaching. So I launched an app 2 months ago, and this was another passion of mine. So I wanted to provide something that was sort of high value, low cost, and reach as many people as I could. So this is a monthly membership that I'm launched 2 months ago now. So got a lot of members in there, and it's about what we spoke about today. It's about a community of business owners who can chat to each other and support each other and ask questions. We do a monthly meetup. So last month was a hill walk at Old Kilpatrick. This month it's a cold water dip at Duck Bay. And it's a kind of fun networking event. Get people together, get them do business.
A lot of people hate networking, but if you're doing something like that different...
I don't like networking either, and stuffy rooms, and you know, it's just
so that's
totally
good.
different.
You're doing that. It's something different,
Something
innit?
totally different. And they get lessons unlocked every week. So it's all lessons on mindset. It's all lessons on business growth strategies. So they unlock that every week. So, and they just work through it at their own pace. So that's the kind of model for me. Now I'm heavily focused on that. And I just want to grow and scale that and reach people sort of globally rather than just
So
Scotland
you're
now.
doing that, but you're the business. Is your husband running your projects then?
He's running that with my business partner, Jamie, who's the operations director. Jamie came to me as a coaching client.
I met Jamie up Ben Ann once.
Did you?
I used to talk to him back forward on LinkedIn, and we always arranged to go for a coffee.
That's brilliant.
Because I think he was at one of your courses at the start,
Yes,
wasn't he?
that's right. He
When
signed
I
up
was
to one of my
speaking to you
courses.
at the time, and I reached out to him, and we were always speaking on and off. Then I met up with Happy Ben Ann, and we keep saying we're going to go out for a coffee, and I've never done it. But Jamie's brilliant. He used to be active on LinkedIn a lot. Yeah. Because I think you pushed him to do more videos on LinkedIn, and that helped him. Yeah. Well, he's a business partner with you, so
he's a partner in projects now. Aye. Yeah, and that's through signing up. That's through him taking an opportunity, investing in himself,
and doing what you tell him, basically when he
doing everything. And I just thought, this guy's far too good to let go. He's absolutely brilliant. This isn't it. Jamie's far too good to be an employee. So I was like, we need to look at getting him into some sort of partnership.
He's
and
running it with Stephen then today.
So Jamie and Stephen are running it together.
Is he at Fickles as well? Is he still working a bit?
Off and on. Off and on, keep stepping back in, but no, he should be completely off the tools in the next 6 months. I'd say he loves it. You know, it's typical trades; they can't help it.
No, because I've not got any motivation for the gym or anything like that. So I find that if I'm doing stuff like that, it keeps my body moving a wee bit.
That's it. No, it works.
Where do we find you? Dates watching. How do they find you? They want to sign up.
Instagram, Angela McKillop Business. I'm all over Instagram. Give a lot of hints and tips on there as well, so it's good for business owners. Active on LinkedIn as well, and my website, angelamcKillop.com.
Brilliant.
Well, brilliant. Thanks a lot for coming and telling your story.
Excellent. You're
welcome.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you. No, it was good. A good success story. Everybody loves a good success story.
And a wee failure story.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys.
Story, aye. That was good.
Excellent.
It's good how you say it's not a success story, it's a failed story.
Aye.
That's what they like.
Failure to success. No, you're right, people. You don't want to hear it, you want to know how they got there, and if there's a wee failure in it, well, a big failure in massive.